woman, his life is longer.
Welcome to Date, Affirm, the Real, our live podcast talking about today's relationships and its effects on us all. Please welcome our hosts, Kia McLean, the poet, and Shamika, the dog therapist. Let's get real.
That's so nice.
Ooh, we're back.
I like that intro.
Our intro is just fire, right? We told y'all in 2025 what it was going to be.
I like it a lot.
It's so dope. We
is.
just so appreciate you, DJ J Diggs, for taking the time to do that. And just a huge shout out to him because he just did that on his own, on our behalf.
I love
so we want to give a sincere thank you and big ups. And if you're in the Dallas area, even if you're not, if you want to get with DJ J Diggs, we will give his information in our comments section and provide a link where you can go and connect with him.
Yes.
Welcome to Date, Affirm, the Real. I am Kia McLean, the poet, and that is my beautiful co-host and my amazing cousin.
Thank you, cousin Shamika Arnold.
Boom. And Shamika is the dog therapist.
Yes.
And so we absolutely love her contribution to the podcast. It's been an amazing journey as we continue to grow, look for some exciting and developing news and exciting news for some things that we have coming in 2025. All right.
Yeah.
So we had to pre-record this show this time because Shamika is going to be traveling and I am jealous. I want to hop in the suitcase with her. But, I'll have my time for that where we can just travel together.
Yes.
And so we're going to wish her a very safe, amazing, beautiful trip.
Yes. Thank you. So by the time this is playing, I'm going to be on the plane.
Yes. She going to be on the plane like, hey. So, hey, everybody. Hey, today we're going to be talking about something. You'll see the title here as you come in and listen to this. But we're going to be talking about sticking with the devil, or patience to wait. So just in my lifetime, I have stayed with the devil that I know too long in a lot of scenarios, work, friendships, relationships, even family connections. I've stayed way too long because what happens is we get very familiar with the space. We get very familiar with people. And although we know that it may not be a healthy situation for us, we stay sometimes out of loyalty, sometimes out of fear, right? Can you think of some other reasons why we stay, cousin?
Comfort, because we're used to being in that, because it may be that your family, that's how your family did it, and so it's a comfort level, and stepping out of your comfort level is sometimes uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It could be I was thinking of dang it. The comfort was the first one. Comfort, like I feel comfort in this, even though it's abusive. I'm used to it because that's what I witnessed when I was a child. Don't think you deserve any better. Don't think you deserve any better.
Yeah. So we have these various reasons that lead us to staying with the devil that we know. And you have to be able to dig deep enough to recognize what it is. Otherwise, that's how we repeat behavior, right? So, just like when you go to see a therapist, which Shamika is a therapist, when people go and talk to her, I can't say for sure, but she's probably looking for patterns with people when she's talking to them. And which that is how she probably helps her people. She can tell us that. But I know my therapist was looking for me to talk about different patterns so that they could help me to find ways to do things differently than the way that I've been doing them before.
Mhm. Mhm.
Am I on point with that, cousin?
Mhm. Yes.
So I've been doing something for a very long time, a certain way, and I'm telling the story, right? And
Mhm.
as I tell that story, my story is identifying what those patterns are.
Mhm.
So when I say, hey, I like to stay loyal and committed to people. And so, I just stay and know they don't talk to me right. They don't treat me right. And I know they don't love me,
Mhm.
but I'm a very loyal person, right?
Mhm.
And my therapist was like, oh, but are you loyal to yourself, Kia?
That was
Right? So I just remember these very profound moments with my
Mhm.
therapist about recognizing certain
Right.
patterns about me, right?
Right.
And one of my biggest concerns was loyalty. And I recognize loyalty is actually one of my number one attributes that a
Mm.
person needs to have with me,
Mhm.
because I'm a very loyal person.
Mhm.
However, what's different about what it used to be before is I recognized I had a toxic loyalty.
Mm.
My loyalty was to everyone,
Mm.
right? Because I was taught, my uncle taught me about loyalty, right? He taught me, stick with people that have a loyalty, an affinity, a love, a respect, an honor towards you, right? Because those are the
Mhm.
people that you can actually depend on, rely on, and trust, right? And but there was another part missing,
Mm.
right? And he did the very best he could with what
Mhm.
he had, right?
Mhm.
And so I truly appreciate my uncle for all the things he poured into me. And that's something that he taught me about. And I to this day still think loyalty is a very big thing.
Right. Right.
However, I wasn't taught to be loyal to myself first.
Mhm.
I wasn't taught to love myself first.
Mhm.
I was taught to have all this loyalty towards other people because that is how you gained respect. That's how
Mm.
people reciprocated loyalty back to you.
Right. Right.
And so, but I never knew how to be loyal to myself. And by
Right.
being loyal to myself, that meant I had to make different decisions about people,
Mhm. Yeah. And
even if I love them.
right. And sometimes we're taught, well, not sometimes, but usually we're taught that other people are more important than us. It's like
Yeah.
ingrained in us, and that if we think about ourselves, you're being selfish.
Selfish. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so then now you feel guilt because you thought about yourself, because it's been entrained, it's been uh, conditioned. We've been conditioned to do that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And we've said this before, and we'll continue to say it. Of course, the thoughts, the experiences, the stories, all of that are our own,
Hmm.
and you can take away what is helpful to you and throw away what is not, or you can put it in the save folder to go back to
Hmm.
later.
Hmm.
Um, because yeah, you get to make whatever decisions you want to make.
Hmm.
We are only here to share, and you pick up what is
Hmm.
helpful for you and release what is not.
That's it. That's all.
So that's it, and that's all. So
Hmm.
we're gonna dive into like what that dive deeper into the mindset of staying in these unfulfilling relationships, because we recognize that so many of us do this, have done this, will do this, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So you're in a space where this can still be helpful to you to help someone else,
Hmm.
even if you've already ascended from that space.
Right. Right.
Um, so, why is it that we have this fear of leaving something familiar to going to something new? Now, I'm going to first use a job as an example.
Mm.
You go to a job and you get to this job, and at some point, you discover at some point in this job, this job ain't really for me anymore.
Mhm, mhm,
There's some things I don't like about this job.
mhm,
And the reason why I'm going to use a job as an example is I remember the exact moment that I knew I wasn't going to do what I saw
Mm.
my grandmother do.
Mhm.
Right? My grandmother
Mhm.
was telling me all the time about how you get a job, you stay at that job forever,
Security.
and that's when you retire
Security.
from. And I don't care how
Yes.
they treat you, and I don't care what
Oh, wow.
happens, and I don't care about the
Mm.
pay. And you get on that job and you show them you're a great employee, and it's going to pay off
Yeah,
for you.
that was
I
definitely
will never. That was something
that
that
was
happened for those
definitely
that are maybe in Gen X.
yes.
You may have heard this exact same thing.
Mhm.
Now,
That was the
I would
thinking.
watch my grandmother every morning. I would watch her, when we would spend summers with my grandparents. I would watch her in those summers get up in the morning, and she would say, "You don't get to work on time. You get to work on time by being there 15 minutes early."
Mhm.
I remember her saying all these issues she would have at work, all these problems she had, but you stay with that job because it's a good job, right?
Mhm.
My grandmother worked for the government, and she went on and on and on about how this was such a wonderful achievement, and it was, and how this was the best thing ever that she could do, and how this level of success was so important, and that we needed to follow basically in those footsteps, right?
Wow.
And I remember I was always this kid. That shit don't make no sense. I questioned everything. I
Everything.
swear I did. Like rational, I was very rational in my thinking. So I
Mhm.
would listen to people, and I may not have said something in response, but I was certainly thinking it, right?
Right,
So
right.
you tell me I need to stay at a job despite whatever, right? That didn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
I knew
You
that
are
about
happy or not.
whether you happy or not, right? Because I
Mhm.
would watch other people's relationships too, and I'll be like, so that looks miserable. I don't want to do that.
You want that.
So you watch and you pay attention, right? And sometimes we're not even taught to observe. We're not even taught to pay
We're
attention.
not taught to question. We're not taught to question. You
That's
can't
why there's
question.
a whole generations of people
Yeah.
that are walking around miserable and
Because you're not
unhappy.
yes. Yeah. Yeah. That was the thinking. And that was the thinking then. That was the thinking then. The thinking was you go to work, you go to school to get a job. Once you get the job, then you stay on the job and you have security. And back in the day, like you would get you concerned with social security, you're concerned with being I remember they used to say, "Ooh, that job has
A pension,
not a pension.
401k.
Uh when you can go on strike.
Oh, that a union.
They got a union. Oh, that's good. You
Mhm.
got a union job.
Thank you, baby.
Yes, because my son was like, "I got a union job," and I was like, "I ain't heard that." I was like, "You're like an old man." I was like, "I ain't heard that." I was like, "I
That's
ain't heard
old
that."
school for real.
I was like,
That is so old
he
school.
did. He was like, "I got a union." I hadn't heard that in so long. I was like, "Ugh," like it kind of like,
Yeah, what?
"Oh yay!"
So we're going somewhere by sharing this with you all. I know we're using the example of a job for a reason,
Right?
right? There's a purpose.
Yes,
Because what happens is some of these things were ingrained in us.
man. Like,
So we need to understand it starts with the job, right?
mhm,
You're supposed to be loyal to a job. Now you're supposed to be loyal to a relationship, even when the person is unfaithful,
mm,
abusing you, lying to you, mistreating you. Okay. Everything is about staying.
mm,
Everything is about forgiveness. Everything is a focus on other people, other people, other people.
mhm,
And so again, this is another reason why so many people need to heal and why we talk about healing a lot is because we have put so many things before ourselves
yes,
that
and
this is
man,
it's sad we put so many things before ourselves. We don't take care of our health because we put other people first.
mhm,
We don't get out of relationships and disconnect from people and places and things because of this false loyalty that we've been told we need to have to other people.
right,
We keep forgiving people over and over and over because we were taught to forgive,
mm,
turn the other cheek. And it's like all of these things, as far as I'm concerned, in Kia McLean, the poet's opinion,
mhm,
has hurt us more than helped us.
mm,
because now, I was 30 something years old before I realized I need to undo a lot of work. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of shit I got to undo.
Right.
At 30 something years, I've been doing it consistently for 30 something years. That is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at almost 49 years old, I'm still trying to undo, I'm still trying to unlearn
Mm-hmm.
and adapt to doing something differently.
Different. Mm-hmm.
And so now that we're having this conversation, start to consider, like, why do I feel like I have to stay in this relationship?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I feel like I have to stay in this friendship?
Because he's a good man, Savannah. That he's a
Because
good
he
man.
is a good
He's a good
man,
man,
Savannah.
Savannah. He's a good man.
And that's the thing about taking advice sometimes too.
Mm,
That's another show for another time.
right.
But these are things that have been ingrained in us. These are
Right.
things that have been taught and passed down.
Right. And the thing is that, and here's the thing too, and I'm specifically just speaking of women. Again, and I've said this before, is that women have been taught that your status is based off of having a relationship. So you could, because there were things, so that was ingrained deeply, because we couldn't do any, we couldn't vote. In fact, they trying to take that away now from married women voting.
Yep.
But so you couldn't vote. Your husband had to vote for you. You couldn't. There were so many things. Like, there were so many things that were taken from. We couldn't even own property. We couldn't. Women couldn't even own property. And so when we get in a relationship, we just get in a relationship because it was a status boost, and then we felt like, oh, I'm lonely if I don't have a man too. But again, that's still status, because you
Hmm.
had a husband, then now your status was raised. Um, and I just had a client that was like, but he's a good man. But I was like, but are you happy? Like, he not
Hmm.
beating on her, but still it was about, are you happy in the relationship? And identifying what you want. Because it doesn't
Hmm.
mean that he's abusive. It doesn't have to mean that he's abusive. It doesn't have to mean that he's harming you. It could just mean that this is no longer a situation in which you find yourself. And I don't want to say that happiness comes from external, right? I don't want to say happiness comes from, being in a relationship, and if you're no longer happy, then you can leave, because that'll fluctuate in a relationship, right? And
Absolutely.
when you find yourself, there's more. You're doing everything you are doing what you can to, again, satisfy your own needs, right? And as far as like doing things, hanging out with friends and family, and you just feel like in the relationship it's just not moving forward. It's not benefiting you anymore. It's
Hmm.
okay to release. It's okay to release.
That's good. That's very powerful. It is okay to release. And so, by knowing that it's okay to release, you know that you have the power, right? You hold the power to making different decisions.
Mm-hmm.
You hold the power to understanding that I get to choose myself,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I think a lot of times we fear, hey, I get to make a different decision. This doesn't feel right for me anymore. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel safe for me anymore. It doesn't feel authentic for me anymore. It doesn't feel genuine or it doesn't align with where I am
Mm-hmm.
any longer.
Mm-hmm.
We feel obligated to oftentimes relinquish our power to other people because of our insecurities, because of the fear, all of these types of things. And so I think when you understand that I get to stand in my power,
Mm-hmm.
I get to stand in my truth, right? That's a beautiful thing. I'll never forget how powerful it was the first time I said no.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said no, period. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't say no, because
Because
I got,
mm-hmm.
and I started giving all these excuses, and I started, because that what happens even in that instance is you become a people pleaser,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then that's
I
a
hurt
whole
your feelings
nother,
'cause I said no.
yeah, so that's a whole nother
Mm-hmm.
dynamic. But sometimes you have to take these things in phases.
Mm-hmm.
You might not be able to jump from here to here, But what I did was I started making strides in little ways,
Right.
right? To get to a space of standing in my truth, standing in my
Mhm.
power,
Mhm.
right? And it started with just a no,
Mhm.
right? Then I started to feel a little bit more secure
Mhm.
about making that type of decision.
Mhm.
And then it went from a no to, at one point, I felt like we were going in the same direction. I no longer feel that way.
Mhm.
I apologize if that hurt you. I apologize if that's not a decision that you're aligned with,
Mhm.
but I need to do what's best for me in this moment. I absolutely wish the best for you. I want the best for you.
Mhm.
However, in this part of my life and my journey, it ends here with you,
Mhm.
right? And having that level
Mhm.
of confidence, it continued to grow in me,
Mhm.
which helped me to become more authentic to who I am. And it helped me to get my power back. It
Yes.
helped me to feel more comfortable, confident, and assured about saying, I deserve happiness. I
Mhm.
deserve peace. I deserve exactly what I want, right?
Mhm.
So even as I look at my life now, for whatever reason, I think my life is the very best right now. It's
Mm.
going to get better. I know
Mhm.
that
I love
already,
it. I
right?
love it. Mhm.
But I feel like my life is the very best right now, right?
Mhm.
Because I can tell you why. Because I've worked through some stuff in some
Mhm.
phases,
Mhm.
right? And I haven't perfected it, but I've
Mhm.
gotten damn good at it. I've
Man.
gotten damn good at
Yes.
it, which
Yes.
means all of my friendships are the experiences I want to have,
Mhm.
right? My marriage is the experience I want to have.
Mhm.
The family connections that I have are the family connections I want to
Mhm.
have, right? The
Man.
the things that I'm doing in life, I'm enjoying doing in life.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's about understanding you get to make the choice. And we
Mhm.
stay in relationships, we stay in jobs, we stay in connections with people,
Right.
whether they're families or exes or whatever, because we're obligated out of loyalty or
Yes.
we have fear or all of the reasons that we mentioned earlier. But how does that help you to fully thrive?
Mm. Yeah.
How
I
does that
was
help you thrive?
I wanted to say too, I was just because I have my altar and stuff because I've gone back to some African spirituality, and so I was sitting in front of my altar and I was saying, I am so grateful. Like I am a single woman, right? And I was sitting like, I am so grateful for the people that I've chosen to be around me. I'm so grateful for like just where my life is. And I just started crying because I was like, oh my gosh, the people that I've surrounded myself with, the support system that I've created for myself, like
Yes.
it is so beautiful. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful. I'm so
Oh,
grateful. I was like, like, and it's not that I don't have a need, right? It's like
yeah.
I can like it's just, and I was just so like overcome with emotion because I was like, oh my gosh, like the people that I surround myself with, they love me and I love them, and it's not a whole bunch of people, right? It's not like a,
Yep.
but
Yep.
the people that I have selected because I didn't have any boundaries. Because
Yeah.
being when you have trauma, when you've been molested, you don't have boundaries. So you're like everybody can come over in a space, and
Yep.
you got people that harm you, and you got people that's not safe with for you, and you just invite everybody and you're miserable. And I was like, I am so happy and so grateful. I have
Yeah.
so much gratitude for the people that are around me that, and again, it's a choice I made.
Mm-hmm.
I actively, consciously chose to have that support system. And I had to, and it was difficult to let go of some people, like that one last thing hanging on, the one last thing that was hanging on.
Mm-hmm.
It was difficult to let that go, even though I knew it wasn't healthy.
Yep.
And it's just, and so now because I'm in that space of releasing that, like I'm creating like, I'm continuously creating situations and bringing people in that are creating healthier situations for me.
Yes. Oh, that was so powerful. That was all of
Man.
that was so powerful.
Man.
So good. That was so powerful. So good. You
Man.
said something about I was just trying to take it in. I wasn't trying to hold on to anything, but it was something that you said, and I'm trying to recall what it was. It was about basically your intention
Mm,
of having the right people around you. And so this is just to encourage anyone that feels like, when people use words like I'm stuck,
mm,
right? These are words I used to use. So
right.
that's a when I hear a person say I feel stuck, it's almost triggering for me.
Mm, mm,
Triggering in a way where I'm like, damn, I remember that feeling,
mm,
right? I remember saying it over and over and over again, even, right? And
mm,
so, we talk about how words are so powerful, but words are really
mhm,
powerful.
mhm,
Trust when we say that.
mhm.
Words are so powerful because me continuously saying I was stuck kept me
Kept you stuck.
continuously stuck,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
So I
mhm,
kept, I'm just stuck. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, right? And
mhm.
when you're in that space, you're going to make really bad
Man,
decisions. I'm just
man.
saying, like,
Yeah.
we're always in a I don't know stage. Let's be
Right,
clear, because
right,
we don't know shit. We don't
right.
know half the things we think we know.
I know for
Okay.
right now,
Let's
in
be
this
clear.
moment.
However, when you are in a mindset of I feel stuck and I
Mhm.
don't know and I'm confused all the time, what will happen is you'll keep generating
Creating that.
that
Mhm.
energy.
You'll keep creating all of that.
Yeah, of I'm stuck, I'm
Mhm,
confused, I don't know.
mhm,
I feel there are times where I feel like, and I have felt like, I don't know which decision I should make, but I can make whatever decision I want to make, and I'm still going to be where I'm supposed to be,
mhm,
if that makes sense.
mhm.
So, despite whatever decision you make, you're going to still be where you're supposed to be. So, just make the damn decision.
That's it. That's all. That's it. That's all.
So, if the decision is, I don't know what to do, I'm in this relationship, I'm unhappy, um, this isn't working out for me, and you feel like I need to walk away from this relationship. If you're wondering all of the what ifs of where am I going to live at if you live with that person, what am I going to do about finances if I have to go and I have to pay all these bills by myself?
Mhm,
What about the kids if there's kids involved? What about the car? We only have one car, right? So you're going to start going through all of these thoughts, and that's only if that's your scenario, right? I'm only
mhm.
using one type of scenario. So what can happen is you're going to start getting caught in the what ifs
Mhm,
rather than the planning of,
mhm,
let
mm.
me just go
Let me
and it's
start
going to work
preparing.
out
Mhm,
like it always does.
mhm,
There is name a time it hasn't worked out. You
mhm,
can't, because you're watching me. You're here.
mhm.
So it's always worked out.
It's always
That's
working.
why there's no bad decision.
Mhm,
So I mean, you can choose to stay,
mhm.
right? But it's gonna affect your mental,
Right.
spiritual,
And
physical,
right. And it's not a
emotional
bad
health.
decision. It's not a bad
It's not a
decision.
bad decision.
It's just a choice you made. And
And
so,
I
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, cousin.
Mhm, go ahead. And you.
No, and I was just gonna say, and you get to experience what happens on that side the same way
Mhm.
you would get to
Yes.
experience what happens if you make a different decision.
Yes. Yep.
And the beautiful thing is we get to learn
Mhm.
from both
Right.
decisions.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
still a lesson for
It's
you.
still a lesson. Yes. Yes. And you know more now than you did the back before you made the decision.
So
Man, that's yes.
going into and let me say this, you guys, my cousin actually helped me discovering this part, right?
Mhm.
Because when you think that one decision over the other is bad or good, right? This is another thing she taught me about bad and good.
Mhm.
There is no bad, there is no good, right? It's a decision.
Mhm.
Either way it goes, you get to experience it. And when you
Yes.
change your
That's
mindset,
right. Yes. You have to change it to what experience do I want to experience? What experience do I want to have
you
in this
taught
life?
me something, cousin. You see,
I
I'm going back with my notes. You taught me something.
know, right? Yes.
I walk with things. I
Yes.
am a sponge, y'all. I am
Man.
a sponge. Like seriously. I
Mhm.
am a sponge. This is why I can I can basically regurgitate things that have been taught to me and explained to me, or things I read, because I am a sponge. I love to learn. I love to grow. I
Mhm.
love to do better. And
Mhm.
so, the tools that I just shared with you are tools that
I'm
my
about to start
cousin.
crying. I feel like I'm all tearing up.
Wait, because I felt that way when you was talking earlier, and I was just
I'm
like,
so
oh
proud of you.
my, like goosebumps. I had goosebumps. So,
Crazy.
well, it's
But
emotional for us
it
because of
is,
we've got
yeah.
to see.
We watched each
Oh,
other.
we've watched each other
And I was
over.
just about to say to, but Kia, oh my gosh, but even when you like, when you said, I didn't know how I was going to get to that, because you wanted to see that lady, and you said,
Yes,
I didn't know how I was
Lisa
going to
Nichols.
get there. And you just was like, and I just drove. I mean, it was
I flew.
you flew,
Mhm.
but you didn't know how you was going to get there. You didn't, I don't think you even had a ticket. Did you
I
have a
didn't.
ticket? I was like,
I didn't.
you had nowhere to stay.
I, it's funny. I was just talking about this
You got
Thursday night.
okay. I need you to tell them because I need you because this is what
It's
she.
too long of a story.
Okay, I need you to shorten it because I need them to understand when you say, think of a time when something didn't go like didn't work out. Like think of a time when something didn't work out, right? And you would and it probably didn't work out because you just didn't make the decision, right? She like this was amazing. Like this was an amazing concept to even what I'm saying, like just making the choice, right? There was no good or bad decision. She was like, it's gonna work out. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna find a place. She didn't have a place. Go ahead. Tell them what happened.
It is an amazing story, and I'm gonna shorten it because it's such a long story,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's a powerful story
Yes.
about faith
Yes.
in yourself, right? It's
Mhm.
about belief. It's about knowing the path that is set for you.
Mm.
Period. And I don't I don't know. I've never been a
Man.
I've never had fear.
Mm.
Um which is not always good.
Mhm. Right.
uh, that ain't always a good thing. But and when I say never have fear, I don't mean never.
Mhm.
So let me reword that because words are powerful. I don't want you to think I've never had a moment where I didn't have that emotion, fear, because
Mhm.
I've had that, and if I'm being honest, it's been mostly surrounding men.
Mm.
But I've had fear about being in certain situations,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
However, I've never had fear about who I am
Mhm.
and what I'm supposed to be doing. Like
Mhm.
that has never been a thing for me. And
Right.
so I wanted to get to this conference. I didn't have the money. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't even care about any of that. This
Mm.
is how fed up I had got with myself though.
Mm.
If I'm
Mm.
honest with you, I had
Mm.
got that fed up. I got tired of making excuses. I got tired of blaming. I got tired of being in that energy. I
Mhm.
recognized the energy that I was in. And I
Mm.
think like this is where accountability comes in for people that want to make a different decision. Accountability comes in when you start looking at yourself
Mm.
100% and you
Mm.
stop looking at other people. And
Right.
that's what I did. I was like, only you can change this shit. Only
Mm.
you, Kia.
Mm.
So I decided that's what I was going to do. So I wanted to go to this conference in Cali. And I actually went to see her twice. Lisa Nichols, if you guys have ever heard of her, Google her. She's a author. She's a coach. She is a motivational speaker.
Mm.
She's all over. I wanted to go see this woman. And the first time that I went to go see her, it was really I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. I
Mhm.
don't know where I'm going to stay, but I'll figure it out. I don't know where the money's going to come from for me to eat, for me to do this, for me to do that. And it all worked out.
Mm.
I was not only safe, I was provided for, and I stood on that stage right next to Lisa Nichols,
Mm.
dancing with her.
Mm.
Okay. I met some amazing people, made some great connections. But my point is, and I really shorten that story because this is a story where I'm gonna share this story on the main stage one day because
Mhm,
it's that
mhm.
powerful.
Man,
Everyone that I share this story with is just like in awe, and there were people who were in
man.
my life in real time when it happened,
Right,
so they know I'm not lying about it, and I have
right.
pictures and videos and all of this to prove, like, because it's that
Man,
amazing of a story
yes.
when you know the power, like when
Man,
you know the power of who you are
man,
and you know that all good things,
man.
you deserve all good
All
things.
good things.
And that's in everything. So
Yeah.
this is why, like I've shared on here before, I'm in my third marriage. And one thing that we like to do as a people is we like to judge other people's experiences
Mhm,
rather than to sit in our own experiences
mhm,
and work in
mhm,
our own. So I've
mhm,
had people say, "Oh my goodness, you've been married twice and now you're going to do it again." And I say, and a lot of times it's people who have been married for 40, 50 years, people um who have the belief that you should just stay in things for the sake of loyalty, for the sake of making other people happy and
mhm,
depriving yourself of happiness and
mm,
joy.
mm,
Um but I don't have that
mm,
belief,
mm,
right?
mm,
And I don't care what other people think,
mm,
so
mm.
that really helps me to stand true
Yeah,
in who I am,
yes.
right? And then I
Mhm.
get to experience the joy I get to experience now. What did I
Right,
just say? I feel like I'm in this is the time of my life. This
yes.
is a moment that when I was little, I was almost told to fear. Coming
Mm,
up on 50, right? You're old, right? You almost dead. Those types of things are the things
mhm,
I would hear
mhm.
when I was younger. And I'm like, so this is the part of life I was waiting for?
Yes.
It's lit over here on
Right.
this side.
I love it.
This shit is litty. I don't care what y'all talking about. Like, I don't even look my age.
Man.
Let's go there,
Right,
right?
right, right.
I get to define what happiness and joy and peace looks like
Yes,
for me, and
yes.
I make the choice to have that experience daily.
Mhm,
What?
mhm.
I get to make a
Yes.
decision
Wait, say that
that
again. You make a choice to have that.
I get to make a choice to experience happiness, joy, peace the way that I want to experience it,
On
right?
a
Cuz see,
daily. Mhm.
I look at experiencing happiness and joy and peace one way. Someone
Mhm.
else may look at it a different way.
Right.
But I don't knock how you experience your happiness, joy, and peace. Don't knock how I live mine or
And
do
if you do,
mine.
it don't
And
matter.
if you do, don't care, right? But
Right.
my point is, if we really start to hone in on ourselves, if we really
Mhm.
start to um, try to figure out what we want, which is
Yeah.
why I talk about journaling constantly. How do you
Mhm.
know what you want? You haven't written it out.
Man.
It's all in your head. It's all
It's
jumbled.
and the ooh,
Write it
it's
out.
yes,
Get clarity
yes.
about what it is that you want, because I can tell you and I can show you everything
Mhm,
I've written. I've got everything
mhm,
I've written on
mm,
paper. I've got, and
yes.
yeah, there are some things that are in motion right
Mhm,
now as we speak, and
mhm,
that's going to happen.
mhm.
So it is about recognizing, I get excited when we talk about things like this
Yeah,
because I live this life. I
yeah,
get to experience things. I can write it out, and let's be clear, because like we're not on my other platform where I talk about healing and I go really, really deep into that. But
mhm.
let's be clear. This is not snap your fingers shit.
Man,
Okay. This
and
is
not at
not,
all.
I'ma think it and it's just gonna happen.
No, it's not that.
I'm very real and I'm very honest about this.
Mhm,
So here's what I need you to do. Understand this. This shit is not easy.
mm.
Doing different things is not easy. Thank you,
Yes,
babe.
very
It's
uncomfortable.
not
Yeah,
easy. You have to reprogram yourself. When you
yes,
think about a
yes.
computer
Yep.
and they say, you're not going to be able to use your computer for
Yes,
quite some time. We have to reboot the whole thing,
yes,
right?
yes.
We have to we have to now download new systems. We have to do all these things. It's
Right,
probably going to take 48 to 72 hours or however long it's going to take,
right.
right? To do these things. You have to think about that in terms of even yourself.
Yep.
There's going to be a timetable
Mhm,
for you going through that moment to
mhm,
have to unlearn some things
mhm,
and learn some things,
mhm,
program some things and
mhm,
reinstall some new things, right?
mhm,
That's gonna take some time. Give
mm.
yourself grace.
Be
Have
patient
some
with yourself.
patience.
Yes.
Yeah, because this is we can do hard things,
Mm-hmm.
right? We can do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do a hard thing. Staying with the devil that you know, it's your choice. You
It's your
can do
choice.
that.
It's your choice.
But you can make a different choice and you can
Mm-hmm.
have different experiences. When I
Yeah.
stayed with the devil that I know, whether it was a job or a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
I only did it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Although I was guilty of doing that, I still had a timetable for, okay, Kia, this isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost feels like you're forcing it to
Mm-hmm.
work. And
Mm-hmm.
when you get to that point, this is where you really kind of like, okay, does this feel organic and natural for
Mm-hmm.
me?
Mm-hmm.
How many days am I feeling overwhelmed, unhappy
Mm-hmm.
versus the days that I feel
Yes.
happy, peaceful?
Yes.
Ask yourself certain questions, write it
Mm-hmm.
out so that you
Mm-hmm.
can go back and reflect on it.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you make different decisions. You don't make
Mm-hmm.
different decisions by keeping it in your head.
Right.
Oh, I had this feeling yesterday and I got this feeling today. And then 3 days ago, I can assure you, even as you listen to me right now,
Mm-hmm.
3 days ago, you don't know how you felt.
No, and
I
I
believe
can, man,
I can assure you,
guaranteed,
you
guaranteed.
don't know how you felt 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks ago, you don't know how
Right.
you felt.
Right.
3 months ago, you don't know how you felt.
Right.
You know how I know how I felt 3 days ago?
Because I
Because I'm gonna go
wrote.
back to my journal
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna say, this is how I felt 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
When I meet a new person and I'm around them, I'm going to reflect on what I felt around them.
Mm-hmm.
When I go into a new environment, I'm gonna reflect on how I felt in that environment.
Mm-hmm.
You owe that to yourself. You owe it to yourself to be in comfortable spaces. You owe it to yourself to be loved properly. You
Mm-hmm.
owe it to yourself to heal
Mm-hmm.
so that you can have better relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna stop there and let cousin tell y'all a few things because
So I wrote something down because you said reprogram, right? And so reprogramming will consist of also, and again, journal. Okay, wait, hold on. Before I get to that, because I wrote that down. But you said about journaling. I guaranteed you don't know how you felt 3 days ago. Because I tell my clients, I need you to like, so because they were like, I had a horrible week. And I'm like, the whole week was horrible? Right? The whole week was horrible? All of the weeks? All of the days?
yeah.
If you're not journaling, if you're not monitoring what your real mood is, you're going to think that you had a whole bad week, and you go forget that there were some good parts in there, right? And we're so
Mm-hmm.
stuck on focusing on what's wrong and what's
Yep.
not good. We don't look at like, okay, what worked for this week? So what if we do that too when we're journaling? What worked for today? What worked for today? What made me feel good today? What didn't work today? Okay, how can I? And okay, so this is the part of the reprogramming, because the reprogramming, when you said earlier, when you were like, oh, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, I'm
Mm-hmm.
stuck. So okay, reprogramming. Let's change the language. Let's change the language. So in order for things to change, you have to change your language. So
Yep.
if we're having these, I'm stuck, or again in your journaling, okay, what worked for me today? What worked for me today? Let's look at the positives. Let's look at the strengths, right? What worked for me today? Today, oh, I had a good conversation with my friend today and it made me feel so good. Okay, what didn't work? Okay, you know what didn't work was when I went to work and that lady was looking at me crazy and we, whatever.
Yeah.
And so even just what didn't work. Okay, then when you say what didn't work, can I change this? Can I change this? If so, how can I change this? And so reprogramming requires that to ask some questions. And you have to change the focus of what you're saying and speaking to yourself. But you wrote something down. What were you about to say?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
That's
you
why
have
I
to
wrote
change
it.
your focus. So instead of I'm stuck, okay, how does it get any better than this?
Mm.
How does it get any better than this? That's always my go-to. You know what? That's for everything. Like if something doesn't feel, okay, how does it get any better than this? Okay, what do I need to do to change this?
Another tool she taught me, y'all.
What do I, yeah, what do I, we're not looking at right or wrong. We're not looking at good or bad, because, and I take that away, because we place judgment on ourselves. And so I'm trying to eliminate how we judge ourselves, right? How badly we judge ourselves in our head. Like, I'm so horrible because I made this decision. No, look how amazing. First of all, let's address that you made a decision. I'm so
Yeah.
proud of you for making a choice, whether
Yeah.
it worked or it didn't work. I am so proud of you for making a choice. Now, what did you learn in that choice about you? Like,
Yeah.
what did you learn about you? What did you learn that you liked? What did you learn that you didn't like? What did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? Like, look at you
Hmm.
made a choice. I'm so proud of you. Good
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
so
that's
good.
the reprogramming. The reprogramming is changing your language, changing your words, changing your verbiage.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was about to say, you stupid. And I was like, wait, who was about to say that? Not me. And I said it all the time. It felt uncomfortable. It became uncomfortable to say it. It became uncomfortable to say something negative to myself.
Yes. Yes. That, that's, look, I hope y'all got that nugget. When you get to that place where it's uncomfortable for you to say things that you used to say about yourself so
Hmm.
negatively, it's like, oh, let me go ahead and shift.
It's
I need to
cringy.
shift. Yeah, it's cringy. I got to
Hmm.
shift. I have
Hmm.
to shift my thought process. I have to shift that so that um, I continue to feel better about myself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right? Because when you start working towards something, and that's another thing, because as you work towards doing something different,
Hmm.
you're going to get real close up high to the slide, and you might slide back down. Right.
Hmm.
And then when you slide back down, you're going to start seeing all these familiar people, all these
Hmm.
familiar things,
Hmm.
right? All these familiar places, and he'll be like, "Oh, I want to go over there. I know
Hmm.
that place. I want to
Hmm.
talk to them. I know
Hmm.
them. I want to
Hmm.
go up there,
Hmm.
but I want to stay down here because
Hmm.
it's familiar, right?"
You're right.
And then you're like, "I'm getting ready to climb back up
Hmm.
this damn slide
Hmm.
because I was experiencing a different altitude."
Hmm. Hmm.
When you're down that low,
Hmm.
you have a different peripheral.
Hmm.
And as you continue to climb up that slide, up that ladder,
Hmm.
whatever analogy you need to use,
Right, right.
when you get through climbing up there, now you're experiencing something different. You
Hmm.
have a different view. I see the sky.
Man.
I see the clouds.
Right.
I see the birds.
Hmm.
Look at that eagle soar,
Hmm.
right? I'm not in the same place. I have elevated to a different level.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, I'm not judging the people that are
I'm
down
not
there on the
judging.
ladder.
Right.
I'm
It's
not
okay.
judging the
You
people
make
that are
that
down there on
choice.
the slide because
It's
I was
okay.
down there.
Yes. Yes.
So, if anything, I understand you
Hmm.
because I've been there. I
Hmm.
get it. I
Hmm.
know what it's like to be in the in between. I know what it's
Hmm.
like I feel like I stay in the in between,
Hmm.
but my goal is always right.
Hmm.
But life be happening and
Hmm.
life be lifing. So you're going to have different experiences, but what is the biggest thing is awareness.
Hmm.
I always call to my awareness. Okay,
Hmm.
Kia. I One of the reasons why I am a journaling coach is because I get to create prompts for people.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, this is a very powerful thing to do for people
Hmm.
because what happens is when I went to therapy,
Hmm.
my therapist told me, I need you to start journaling.
Hmm.
That's great. I did that.
Hmm.
The way that I did it initially, um, I don't know that it was 100% helpful or successful for me
Hmm.
because there was no structure. And I'm a kind of a
Hmm.
structured person.
Hmm.
Everybody's not like that. Some
Hmm.
people can just fly off the handle and they can do
Hmm.
things, right? I'm a
Hmm.
very organized, structured person in my mind and my brain and how I move.
Hmm.
So for me, it would have been nice to have a me.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been nice to have someone to
Mm-hmm.
guide me through that process
Right.
to so that I can know what questions to ask
Mm-hmm.
myself. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know what questions
Mm-hmm.
to ask. So
Mm-hmm.
now when I work with my clients, I ask questions of them to help me to determine what questions they need to ask of themselves. Sometimes we don't know what even
Mm-hmm.
to ask ourselves, right? You
Right.
know how when you'll tell me, and she's always giving me tools. It's a great benefit to having a cousin, sister, bestie that is a therapist, because I do get off the clock therapy. Okay. So
I do
look,
too, y'all. I do too. Don't let her fool you.
so she be working through some stuff with me, and I take those tools seriously, right? And when I can, I share it with other people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there are things that people always, when people give me nuggets, it gets stored and I use it and I
Mm-hmm.
share it, you know. And one of the best things is what she shared earlier. How does it get any better than this?
Man,
This is a
change your
question.
whole every. It'll change
This
your
is
whole
a
trajectory.
question that I ask every day,
Man,
all throughout the day. How does it
yes.
get any better than this?
And it's for
And a lot
good,
of times
bad,
it's
and
silent.
different. It could be things going good, and you could be like, "How does it get any better than this?" It could be things like, "Whoo, how does it get any better than this?"
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
just using it, man.
So you have to know how to use your tools. But again, I take the tools I get and apply them. Now, what if I didn't have the tool? I would, I could still get it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go probably do a little research, do a little digging,
Mm-hmm.
or try to conventionally think of things that I need to ask of myself, right? Sometimes those questions do come to me. But again, I hear a person's story. They tell me, hey, I'm struggling with um, imposter syndrome, or I'm struggling with identifying what brings me happiness, what brings me joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm collecting data so that I can give them the tools that they need
Mm-hmm.
to come out of that
Right.
with them understanding and recognizing their power.
Mm.
You hold the power, so you're going to ask yourself the question and you're going to answer the question.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to call your mama,
Mm-mm.
your sister, your brother,
Mm-hmm.
your friend.
Mm-hmm.
You answer the question about you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody needs to answer the question about you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to do that, that tells me that there's a lot of work that needs to be
Right,
done,
and you don't trust yourself.
because you don't trust yourself and you don't know yourself and you don't value yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
so now that means I'm out of this. Go talk to a therapist first.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back and we'll work together, or we can work together in conjunction.
Right.
But that's too heavy of a load for me to take on, because then it's going to get into me having to answer questions that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not qualified to answer,
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to want some deep therapy work.
Mm.
Meanwhile, all I can really do is give you journal prompts, provide you with resources, provide you with my own personal experiences. But outside of that,
Mm-hmm.
it really is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we have been taught that everything is external. In everything in life, I promise you, that's what we've been taught. Everything is external. Giving other people power, trusting other people over ourselves, respecting people over ourselves, extending loyalty and love and faith and honor to other people over ourselves. I've given you the outline. We have done this for so long. You need to trust yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to value who you are. And the only way you'll stop dancing with the devil that you know,
Mm-hmm.
the only reason that you'll step from that relationship that's not healthy, so that you can truly be in a relationship that's healthy, that's
Mm-hmm.
loving, that's vibrant, that
Mm-hmm.
adds peace and joy and love and laughter to your life, is by truly standing in your power.
Mm-hmm. You
That's it.
mentioned you mentioned we've been trained, we've been programmed to believe that everything is external, and that you and they and I know I remember in church they're like, well, you don't know, God knows, right? But then if God is within you, then
Yeah.
even what if what if even the choices you think is, oh my gosh, it's bad, what if that's still God within you? What if that's still God within you? right? And 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 what if you don't know because you haven't gotten to know you, right? What if you don't know because you haven't gotten to know you? What if as you get to know you and the God within you, then you know?
Huh.
Hmm. Because I remember going to church and be like, that's because you don't. And I remember saying it. I remember saying only God knows. Because I don't know nothing. Who told you that? God created you and breathed the breath of life in you. Why would you not know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because somebody told you. So now you're just programmed. So now the choices. So what's going on is that it's like subliminal messaging, like they always like it's always been done.
Oh shit. Come
And
on,
so,
cousin.
man,
Come on.
it's like so it's programmed in you to know to make you think that whatever decision you make is bad. And so now you're bad and you're not good. So now
Mm.
you believe that you're bad and you're not good. So now I'm
Mm.
going to make decisions based off of that concept, that thinking, right? But what if you are just fine? What if you are just you're not a bad a fuck up as you think you are, right? What if I tell you that God created you and breathed the breath of
She
life in you? What
preaching.
if,
She
what if,
preaching.
what if that's what I tell you? And so now that you see that, now you can think from that perspective, right? That God breathed the breath of life in me. So if I even make this choice, it's gonna work out. Whether I learn a lesson in it, and I'm not gonna utterly fall. So I'm going. And here's the thing. And here's the thing. Once you make choices that create joy and laughter and within you, it's contagious. And so when you're like trying to do the people pleasing, right? What if you pleasing yourself will the ones that are supposed to be around you, right? The ones that want the joy and want the same things you want will come a flocking.
Uh-oh.
And it will be all joyful.
Uh-oh. Y'all ready for this?
It will be all joyful. That's how that works. That's
Ooh.
how that works. But you have to put you first in order
Mm.
for that to occur because you are the breath of life. You are God breathing. Okay?
If you're scared to be alone, understand this. You are not alone.
You are not alone.
Not alone.
You're
You're not by yourself.
not by
I mean,
yourself.
you and
Man.
I want to say this. So, you know, my cousin is single, and you've heard her say this on here before. She lives a full, happy, joyous, peaceful ass life. Okay?
Yes. Yes.
I told her if I ever had to be single again, that's the route. Mhm.
That's it.
That's the route to take.
Right.
Right? When you're in a space where you get to enjoy whatever phase of life you're in, I
Mm,
think is the flex. That's the real
mm,
flex. It's not it's
Whatever
not
phase of
your
life you're
it's not
in. Yes.
it's not your status
Yes. Yes.
married. You know, and I think certain things have conditioned us outside of little girls being conditioned to have a man, have a husband, have kids, have a house, have this. You know, when you're filling out paperwork, even, it's a subconscious thing. Mark if you're married, mark what your race is, mark what your sexual preferences are, mark, and everything is defined by all of these things. And
Hmm.
then you start to define who you are based on the boxes
That you
on the
checking.
paperwork,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to diminish who you are.
Mm.
But if you're not happy with that man, with that woman, with your partner, whoever they are, walk away.
And they
Be
diminish
done.
you. Ooh,
Be done. Okay?
don't diminish
There's no need
yourself.
to have a fear about what will happen, because what will happen is what is supposed to happen for you from making that decision.
Mm-hmm.
If you got to struggle, that's your experience.
Mm.
If you meet the person of your dreams and get married 6 months later, that's your experience.
Mm-hmm.
Both are experiences that you're supposed to learn from
Mhm.
and truly experience.
Mhm.
Sometimes we're scared of the
The
experience,
experience.
but that's what
Mhm.
we're supposed to have.
Mhm. We're supposed to have the
You're
experience.
supposed to have the
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
Stop cheating yourself from having the experience. Because
Yes.
that's all you're doing. You're cheating yourself from the pain. You're
Mhm.
cheating yourself from the hurt.
Mhm.
You're cheating yourself from the joy.
Mhm.
Because, see, you don't really know what's on the other side.
Mhm.
All you know is I've definitely been taught fear. So I know
Mhm.
that emotion.
Mhm. I know
So
that.
I'm just gonna check in with
Mhm.
I'm gonna check in with that emotion of
Mhm.
fear rather than faith, rather than hope,
Mhm.
rather than belief.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so
Mhm.
a lot of times that's why we stay in these connections with people is out of a lot of fear, out of a lot
Mhm.
of programming,
Yes.
other people projecting things.
Yes.
Really quick story. I never forget when I relocated to Dallas from St. Louis, and I'm going to tell you the number one thing people said to me about my move. You'll never believe the number one thing people said to me when I said, "So, yeah, so first I was moving to Phoenix. 30 days before my move, I changed my destination to Dallas. That's another story, okay? However, I sold everything out my house. Whatever I didn't sell, I gave it away. And I got in my little 2-door convertible and I moved to Dallas with what fit in that 2-door convertible, right?
Mhm.
The number one thing people said, so you're selling your TVs? I promise you. I promise you. It was the weirdest shit ever. I was like,
That was odd. I thought there was gonna be something deeper. That
I
was
was like, I said, it's a TV.
yet another
But you
one.
got but you got 3 big TVs.
Hila-
What people didn't even recognize at the time, because I really wasn't sharing it then, was I had cut TV out of my life. I wasn't even watching TV. I had
Mm,
stopped watching TV for at that point, it was probably about 8 months that I
mm,
hadn't watched TV.
mm,
So people didn't even know I didn't give a shit about a TV. And I had a TV. This is crazy to me. The biggest TV I had was a 50-inch.
mm-mm.
Okay. So we ain't even talking about like massive sports types of TVs. A 50-inch was my largest TV. And people were concerned about me selling my TVs.
Hilarious. That's
Right.
interesting.
And so because we're taught to focus on such material things,
Distraction.
right? And it probably was the most expensive thing in my house that I was
Mm.
selling was my
Oh, okay.
TVs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I had clothes, I had shoes, I had purses, I had all kind of stuff like that, but TVs. And but I and I only mention that to say sometimes you're putting your energy
Mm,
on the bullshit.
mm, mm, mm,
That
mm.
was the purpose of me sharing that story. I
And
almost
there it
lost the
is.
purpose.
And there it is.
So if you're focused
Hmm.
on the bullshit, right? Because imagine how many people are staying in a city, how many
Mm,
people are staying in a state, how many people are staying in a relationship because of
mm,
TVs.
hmm.
Okay. And I say that metaphorically, but
Right, right, right,
there's
right, right,
something that is holding you in that space.
right,
And once you get out of the thought process that, oh, I can move, I'm not a tree.
right.
I'm not rooted in this place. I get
Hmm.
to do whatever I want to
Man,
do.
man.
That's power right there. And
Hmm.
to know that you have that level of power and then you don't
Right,
use it,
right, right, right,
it's
right,
like, are you playing with yourself?
right, right, right,
Stop playing with yourself.
right. Oh,
So
listen.
um I really just wanted to point that out and share that final story as we close out our session. And so we will close out as we always do. So, cousin, take us out.
Let's breathe in through our nose, count of 5, and out through our mouth, count of 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you guys for watching again. We appreciate you. We appreciate and we are grateful um, for just listening, for listening and being a contribution to us and those around you. Because as you start doing things different, then those around you will start doing the same. And so we just thank you. And all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. How does it get any better than
Yes, I love it.
that?
I get to use all of these powerful tools that
Yes.
she shares, and I
Yes.
hope that you get to use them as well. You don't have to keep dancing with the devil, you know. You
Yeah.
get to explore different opportunities, and even if those don't work, you still deserve something better. And
Mm-hmm.
if it's with someone or staying single or being single, that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You are still worthy. You are still loved. You
Hmm.
are still beautiful. You are still handsome.
Yes.
You are still worthy. You
Yes.
deserve the absolute best.
Yes.
You
Yes.
need to know that. You need to stand in it. You need to trust it. You
Yes.
need to trust yourself. You
Yes.
need to stand all the way in your power.
Yes.
Be authentic. Be
Yes.
loyal to yourself first.
Mm.
And know and believe that Date Affirm the Real truly loves you,
Mm.
wants the best for you.
Mm.
And we hope that this was a helpful conversation for you all.
Yeah.
Until next time, peace.
Seeing eyes of mine, you see, there are no trees inside of me.